I wanted to know the time range. If someone does keto well, how
Hmm.
long does it usually take before they don't need their diabetic medication?
It's really interesting because it does depend on how insulin resistant you are. In other words, how effective are you at making sure the glucose that you're consuming gets into your cells. Some people are more resistant than others. One way to determine that is to measure a fasting insulin level. So that same fasting insulin level that can predict a future heart attack also predicts future diabetes, which is a beautiful thing. You can predict diabetes 5 to 10 years in advance, literally and nobody's ordering this test. It's amazing. And then why is that true? Because your pancreas, which is under your left rib, the pancreas is going to rev up the production of insulin to maintain your blood sugar because you only have a teaspoon of sugar in your blood at any time. So anything above that, your body considers potentially toxic. So it's going to rev up the insulin so that you can put the sugar in the right place, not in your blood. If my insulin level is super high, I'm probably insulin resistant. I also have a C-peptide test I can check. Now, all diabetics should check this test. It's also a way to determine inflammation. If my C-peptide is suggesting I'm not even making enough insulin, that could be an issue if it's too low. So the first thing is to understand who's in front of you. A person who's larger is probably more insulin resistant than a person who's thinner, although we do have TOFI, thin on the outside, fat on the inside. So people who have visceral fat around their organs, they could also be insulin resistant, even though they don't look like it. Particularly when you look at certain cultures like Asian cultures, they tend to be at higher risk for that. So some people, particularly when you start thinking about Jason Fung and intermittent fasting, he gets people off of insulin in a month because you basically are saying, I'm not even eating anything. My pancreas can rest and all of that insulin production levels off and you can recover quite quickly. In my clinical experience, if I have a very dedicated person, particularly if they're under 20 carbs a day, they can get off of their metformin or whatever within easily between visits in 3 months, easily. In fact, I have to warn them. In fact, in our health system, we have a pharmacy team, and I will refer them to the pharmacy team who can kind of walk with them so they can kind of de-prescribe. Imagine living in a world where we don't prescribe medicines, but we de-prescribe medicines. And that's what happens with this dietary pattern.